So, hello and welcome to the fourth round of the Dynamic Racing League 2021. I'm very sorry that I didn't manage to record Spain because I have a new controller and I was having issues with the share button, which is the button that you use when you want to record something. And I actually recorded most of the race, but I didn't manage to record the last 10 laps because of the share button, and yeah, so it was not worth sharing. But anyway, I think I've fixed the issue, and hopefully I won't and hopefully I will be able to record every session from now on till the end of the season. We have Scaife on track. We always say that he has the habit to be the first driver to hit the track, driving for McLaren this season. And we have the championship leader on track. It's Matt, driving for Ferrari. He actually lost a few points to Owen at Canada because Owen finished second while Matt only scored 12 points, but he still has the lead. I'm actually kind of supporting Matt this season because Ferrari have never been successful in the Dynamic Racing League because the top drivers have always driven for other teams, and Ferrari have never been strong. I could have won the title for Ferrari when I was competing, but I was driving for, I think, Cartron. So anyway, Matt starts his qualifying lap. He is on the straight, and this is where the qualifying lap starts. He is on medium tires. Matt is on medium tires, so he probably just wants to get a feel for the car. And Matt ends up like this. Don't know if it was the curb, but Matt ended up like that, and now he can carry on. Obviously no damage because he didn't hit anything, but he now probably ruined Matt out of the session. No, very lucky Matt, because the car looks okay. He didn't even damage his front wing, maybe, so he was very lucky. I think the second spin was caused by the fact that the tires were overheated after the first spin, so I think he is now going to pit and change the tires, maybe replace the front wing. There is another spin, and it was an AlphaTauri, but it wasn't Orbeking, so it probably was Liam K. Liam K probably was the driver who spun. Anyway, we are on board with Orbeking because Orbeking probably he missed the apex and lost a couple of tenths, probably tenths. And he's now on the final straight, and let's see how good Orbeking in the lead. So Orbeking in P1, obviously there is a lot of time left, so this means nothing, but as of now Orbeking is in the lead. We need to wait to see how good Matt can perform, and also Jimmy James. We have Spike now up in P3. Hughes moves also. The Aston Martin drivers are doing pretty well this season. we only have one Aston Martin on track right now because Crossy-Dale isn't racing. So Hughes moves. Let's see how good this lap time is going to be. He is on medium tires, so he probably is not going to take pole. I don't understand why he took that racing line. Probably cost him a few milliseconds, but anyway, Hughes moves is in P4, and he is the slowest driver of the drivers who have completed a lap. So Orbeking in the lead, then we have Kiat, then we have Spike, and Hughes moves on medium tires. He can potentially go faster. And now I think M. Yates is driving out of the garage. So M. Yates on track again, and if I'm not mistaken, he was on soft tires, so he's probably going to challenge Orbeking for P1. And indeed, Matt is on soft tires. Matt on soft tires, and this is going to be interesting. Like I've been saying since the beginning of the seed, there is some lag, but I think, yeah, everything okay again. Anyway, like I've been saying since the beginning of the season, the fact that Alpamut K and Matthijs, the Dutch driver, are not on track, the fact that they are not racing is making the league very interesting, because they were very superior compared to the rest of the drivers, and they killed the competition. So the fact that they are not racing is making the season very exciting, and anyone can win. M. Yates is fast enough to win. Orbeking is also fast enough to compete for the final, for the win of the championship. And Matt did a purple first sector, so Matt is faster than Owen in sector 1. Let's see how good the rest of the lap is going to be. There is still many minutes left. There is still many minutes left, and Matt took another risk there, because he nearly ended up into the wall on the other side of the track, and that would probably have broken his car completely, but he managed to keep his car under control, so Matt can complete the lap. But I think he lost quite some time there, and he is up in P4. So P4, Orbeking, Kiat, Spike, and the Matt even behind of Spike. So Matt not driving very well. Another mistake. He's making too many mistakes, and he is going to end up into some wall if he keeps driving like this. So he needs to calm down and focus on his driving, because he has the speed to take the win, so he doesn't need to take risks like this. 4 minutes left. Orbeking is still in P1, has been in P1 since the very beginning of the session, and this is a retirement. Liam Kay already damaged his car before, and now he was the AlphaTauri driver that broke the front wing earlier in the session, and now he totally lost control of his car and ended up into the barrier on the other side of the track, which is what Matt almost did, but he managed to keep his car under control. This is Matt. He's now on soft tires, still on soft tires, and he goes up in P3. Matt goes up in P3. Orbeking, Kiat, and Matt. It's going to be a pretty intense race. And Jimmy James took P1, surprisingly. Owen was in P1 the whole session, and now Jimmy James up in P1, but Owen is on a flying lap. Owen should be on a flying lap. Yes, this is Owen. He just started his flying lap. Let's see if he has the pace. I think he'll feel pretty bad if he loses P1 this way. And orbiting purple sector in sector 1. I think Jimmy James, I think he's still pushing. He's now on the final chicane now. No, he drives back to the garage. So Owen purple sector again. So Owen might be able to take P1 again. Owen might be able to take P1 again. Let's see what's going to happen. He needs to stay focused in the last corners, and he drives correctly around the chicane. And Owen in P1 again. Owen in P1 again. He had to work harder for this because Jimmy James surprisingly took P1 when there was only 2 minutes, only 1 minute left. So Owen was probably afraid he was gonna lose this pole position, but he managed to stay calm under pressure, and he took P1 again with a very good lap. So Orbe King, Jimmy James, and Matt, the championship leader, starting from P4. The championship leader is going to start from P4, and there is only 2 drivers on medium tires at the start. It's raining. It's raining. This could be a very intense race because it's raining. And Spain is a pretty difficult track to drive on when it rains. It's not as difficult as Monaco, but this unexpected rain could really change the order of the group, of the grid. Anyway, I think formation lap was not enabled because this is already the start. This is already the start. So it's lights out and away we go. Orbe King keeps the lead. Orbe King keeps the lead, and there is Cla-Ita and Jimmy James wheel to wheel, and the Cla-Ita around the outside. We'll see if Cla-Ita managed to no. Orbe King in the lead, then Jimmy James. So Orbe King kept the lead, Jimmy James kept second place, and Cla-Ita kept third place. So nothing changed. Matt ended up in P6. So Matt lost 2 places at the start. Matt lost 2 places at the start. Jimmy James out of the session, and this is a surprise because he definitely had the pace to compete, to fight for the win, but he's already out of the session. Jimmy James already out of the session. So Jimmy James already out of the session, and I don't think the safety car is gonna come out. No, the safety car not coming out, so the race will continue normally. And Matt now up in P5 because Jimmy James is out of the session. Orbe King in the lead. Now he doesn't he has less pressure now that Jimmy James is out. Matt now putting Spike under pressure, and you don't have DRS in the rain, so every overtake is going to be pretty difficult to complete, because Spain is a track where it's not easy to make a move, because it's pretty tight, narrow. Anyway, Orbeking in the lead, and it looks like Kvyat has the pace to keep up with Owen, even though Owen is slightly pulling away. Owen is slightly pulling away, but Kvyat looks pretty quick. So Orbeking in the lead, Kvyat, then we have a Spike pretty close. Spike is pretty close to Kvyat. Spike, no, it's not Spike. It's the other Red Bull driver, and it's Game Boy. So Game Boy in P3. Game Boy in P3 and putting Kvyat under pressure, and Spike already has a penalty. Spike already has a penalty. Matt still behind of Spike, and like I was saying before, it's going to be pretty difficult to make a move if DRS is not enabled, because DRS enabled because I think the track is getting dry. If the race director enabled DRS, and Game Boy nearly lost control. It's obviously still pretty wet, so it's difficult to drive in these conditions, and it's going to be difficult when it gets dry, because it will take some time to be completely dry, until the track is completely dry. So Orbeking in the lead, and he is not pulling away. Kvyat is driving pretty well. Kvyat driving pretty well, and he's managing to stay close to Owen. That was a spin. That was a spinning Spike into the wall, and he ended up at the bottom of the grid. Spike at the bottom of the grid. He was driving pretty well, and he spins again. I think this is similar to what happened to Matt in qualifying, because when you spin, then the tires become way too hot, and you need to drive very calmly to not spin again. Orbeking and Kvyat fighting. Kvyat and Orbeking were fighting wheel to wheel, and Orbeking stays in P1. I think Orbeking lost some time somewhere, because Kvyat was driving pretty well, but he wasn't too close enough to make a move, and they are wheel to wheel again. I think, yes, Kvyat goes up in P1. So Owen suddenly losing pace. He wasn't pulling away, but Kvyat wasn't close enough to make a move. I think Owen made some little mistake somewhere, and is now under pressure again, because Game Boy is all over his back. Let's see if Orbeking has the pace to fight back and maybe go up in P1 again. It's going to be a pretty interesting race, I reckon, because Owen trying to make a move again. But he wasn't close enough, and Kvyat keeps P1, but they are all fast enough to win, so it's going to be pretty intense, I reckon. And also it's going to be very important to pit at the right time, because it looks like the rain is reducing, and I think the track will be getting dry soon, because the race director enabled the DRS, and when the race director enables DRS, it means that the track is getting dry. So Cla-Ita in the lead, Orb King all over the back of Cla-Ita, and Game Boy all over the back of Owen. Owen really under a lot of pressure. But Game Boy wasn't close enough to attack him on the inside at the braking point. Let's see if someone is going to pit. Game Boy sliding all over the track. Cla-Ita still in the lead, and he doesn't pit. So nobody pitting yet. Maybe it's going to take 4 or 5 laps for the track to get dry. Escape pitting. Let's see if he changes his strategy. Yes, Scaife now on medium tires. So let's see how fast he's going to be on medium tires, because on dry tires, because this could be a good indication for the other drivers. Everyone else still on wet tires, inter tires. Everyone else still on the inter tires, and the track still looks wet, so maybe they don't feel confident enough to make a risky move, because pitting at the wrong time can ruin your race altogether. Cla-Ita keeping the lead, and again they don't decide to pit. So Owen pretty close, he has DRS. Owen around the outside, he was pretty close, he really gained a lot of he really got close very quickly when he opened the DRS. It was pretty powerful, and Cla-Ita had to defend, but Owen didn't manage to complete the move. So Cla-Ita keeping first place, and again they are all fast enough to win. Cla-Ita is pretty fast, and so is Owen, and Game Boy is keeping up with them. So it could be a 3-way fight until the end. Let's see if something changes, if the order changes during the stops. And Owen has DRS again. And I think they touched. Because I saw a weird movement. I think they touched. And again, when Owen opened DRS, he got close very quickly to Cla-Ita. I think, did Cla-Ita pit? Yes, Cla-Ita pitting. So let's see if this is the right call. I think Matt is going to pit as well, because I saw the Ferrari mechanics walking out of the garage, and indeed Matt is in the pits, and everyone is choosing medium tires. So maybe Orb King did the wrong call. Maybe he's going to lose a lot of time now that the track is dry enough for dry tires, and he still is on wet tires, so he might really lose a lot of time compared to the drivers who are now on medium tires and condition, it's really not clear whether, I don't really understand whether they are comfortable with medium tires or not, because they look like they are struggling. But according to the screen, Kvyat is getting closer to Orb King. The gap is reducing, so I think Owen saw that, and he now is pitting for medium tires. Let's see. I think Kvyat is close enough. And indeed, you see Owen on the right side of the screen. He was pitting, and Kvyat has already driven past the pit lane exit, so Owen now, I think Owen could rejoin behind these two. Owen lost a lot of time. No, Owen manages to keep P2. He really lost a lot of time. He nearly ended up in P4. Now Kvyat has a decent Owen spins, and Owen now down in P3. He spun, and Matt was close enough to gain a benefit. Track really is not completely dry. It's dry enough for dry tires, but not completely dry, because the drivers are really struggling a lot. So Kvyat, Matt in P2, and Owen close enough. He might go up in P2 again. He opens DRS. Matt usually is very harsh when defending, but he wasn't very harsh this time, even though they are fighting for the championship. I forgot to mention this. They are fighting for the championship, and they are physically close on track. But Matt wasn't very harsh when defending. Quite surprising, because Matt is, again, very intense when he defends, but he just let him go. Anyway, Kvyat in P1, and he is dominating the race. We have Game Boy in P2 and Orb King in P3. Kvyat even setting fastest lap. There is many laps left, but it's looking very good for Orb King setting the fastest lap. Owen setting fastest lap. We have the other AlphaTauri driver here trying to put Matt under pressure. Liam K. Owen is pulling away from Matt. He looks faster than Matt. So anyway, it's looking pretty good for Kvyat, because I don't think the weather conditions are going to change. The drivers are really still struggling a lot. You saw that Matt nearly lost control again on the fast chicane. Liam K now, Matt now pulling away from Liam K. Matt between the two AlphaTauri drivers. And Game Boy, I think, is getting closer to Kvyat, but Kvyat seems to be fast enough to make the comeback very slow, because Game Boy is getting closer, but not fast, not quickly enough. He's not going to get close to Kvyat at this rate before the end of the race. I never thought I'd ever say this, but Kvyat is dominating the race. So Kvyat in the lead and totally dominating. Game Boy is getting closer and closer, but he's not fast enough to get close before the end of the race if he doesn't improve his pace. And I think Spike retired. Spike retired. I wasn't able to see what happened. It's pretty weird that the safety car doesn't come out. There have been 2 retirements already, but the safety car is not gonna come out today. It looks like no matter what happens, the safety car is not coming out. Again, Game Boy is now 5.9 seconds away from Kvyat, but now the gap goes up and down. The gap goes up and down. So again, I don't think that Game Boy is going to get close enough to Kvyat before the race ends. So the sun is shining at Spain. The race started with very bad weather, even though the DRS was enabled pretty quickly and the track got dry in less than 10 laps. But now we've ended up seeing the sunshine. And I was right when I said that Kvyat was going to win the race, because nobody managed to be fast enough to get close enough before the end of the race. There is still 2 laps left, 1 lap and a half, but so anything can still happen, and Kvyat needs to keep his cool and keep it clean. But I think that he's got this in the bag. Because Owen also has a penalty. Just noticed this. Owen also has a penalty, so Kvyat has got this in the bag if he doesn't make mistakes, because if Owen managed to get past, he'd still have to pull away, and it's not going to happen in just 1 lap. So Kvyat probably is going to win this race, and it could be his first win. Oberking beating Matt again, so the championship lead is going to reduce again, but Matt is keeping the lead. It's still, these first races have been very confusing, because I still can't tell who is faster than who. It looks like the order of the grid changes every race, so it could be a very exciting championship. Everyone has a penalty except for Kvyat. Now Oberking very close to Kvyat, Oberking very close, but again he has a penalty, so there is no point in trying to get past, because there isn't enough time to pull away. Kvyat wins the Spanish Grand Prix and he celebrates on the straight, and Orb King finishes in P2, and we have Game Boy on the podium. Game Boy in the podium. He has yet to finish. So we are going to see the Game Boy walking on the podium. And Matt finishes in P4. So Matt keeps the lead, and Scaife with his McLaren lapped in P6, no, in P5. Only 5 drivers have finished. So, very happy for Kvyat because it's his first win, and it's looking like the 2012 F1 season, the real one, when the order was changing every race and you couldn't tell who's gonna win, who was gonna win. Was Liam Kay chosen as driver of the day? Didn't notice. Anyway, this is the podium. Kvyat wins the Spanish Grand Prix, and it's his first win, but most importantly, Matt keeps the lead, and the championship standings will be updated on the page soon. And the next race is going to be the toughest one. It's going to be at Monaco. So something surprising could happen. So it's going to be Monaco in 2 weeks. Hope you enjoyed the race and stay tuned.